I say, thank God for YouTube. Thank God for the algorithm. Thank God that it didn't promote that video the way that it used to promote other videos. Thank God. We live in a world where everyone is so used to a microwave result. I do something, I must reap the result right away. And when things seem to be actually taking forever, we become disillusioned and be bitter and believe that yes, I've become maybe a failure because I'm spending way too much time here in the valley. So maybe I'm just someone who was actually born and designed to live in the valley, to be enjoying all these low-hanging fruits. Sometimes the only way up is down. When you're going through a down moment, it does not mean that you're actually meant to be there. It's simply a time when you're supposed to be sown and kept there in the dark until all the roots that are supposed to come out of the seed are going to go deeper and strong enough to now cause the rest of the plant to now start shooting forward. If you don't have any evidence to support your belief, are you going to be crazy to believe that you still all that reality is denying that you are? Is it going to be insane to brainwash yourself that you are still the one person that can bring the solution to whatever the community is looking for? This is the kind of question I would like to consider in this particular video. In this video, I'm going to talk about the need to reappraise your situation, to reappraise your own value, even when precisely there is no evidence to support that you are someone of any type of worth. You are someone who has any type of value. All right? This is a video that you do not want to miss. Dimitri here. Let's get right into it. A few days ago, I was completely caught off guard. My young daughter comes to me and says, "Daddy, I'm sad." I dropped everything, so I started looking at her. Says, "What's wrong?" She says, "Daddy, I don't know if you're going to get upset, but there's something I'd like to tell you." I say, "Yes, oh, of course, by all means, I'm listening." She says, "Daddy, I was on YouTube." I said, okay, please tell me more. "And I saw your latest video. It was not doing that good. After 3 or 4 hours, it had only about 8 or 9 views. Daddy, you need help." I said, "Oh, really?" "Yes, Daddy, you need help. And if you don't mind, can I talk to you?" I said, "Of course, yes, I'm open." "Daddy, I think you need to start watching videos from Mr. Beast. Because Mr. Beast seems to have mastered the game of YouTube, and you can learn a lot from Mr. Beast." I said, "Okay, please tell me more." So by that time, now I realized that she was talking about the views or lack thereof from my latest video. So I was all excited. I said, "Please tell me more." She says, "Daddy, I can give you even more suggestion." I said, "I'm listening." And right there and there, I became all super excited. Why? Because I said, my goodness, to this particular video, I have now the perfect opportunity to tell my daughter about something key, which is the growth mindset. I said, I'm still listening. I'm thinking growth mindset. I'm completely all excited. "Oh yeah, Professor Carol Dweck, Stanford University. Today, I'm going to have the conversation that I was just waiting for." But anyways, let me just listen to her. She says, "Daddy, as a matter of fact, as an idea, I would suggest that we maybe consider going to France, going to Paris, to go see the Mona Lisa." She says, "Daddy, I know you've been to Paris, but I also know that you've never seen the Mona Lisa in person." I said, "That is true. So yes, we should go to Paris and look at the Mona Lisa. Maybe that's going to inspire you." And she said, "Yes, that picture was actually painted by Leonardo da Vinci, and that's going to give you some kind of inspiration." I said, "Oh my goodness, this is like, oh," I said, "thank God for YouTube. Thank God for the algorithm. Thank God that it didn't promote that video the way that it used to promote other videos. Thank God. And my only mistake is that I took a screenshot of that particular moment where my video had on about 8 views, because that should have been a screenshot and put somewhere in my office. I said, let me tell you something now about Leonardo da Vinci. I said, please sit down, please sit down. Let me first give the basic. Here it is, as a principle. Life is about ups and downs, ups and downs, ups and downs, ebbs and flows, ebbs. I says, in order for you to do this thing called life successfully, the way I expect you to, you have to come to understand that there are going to be moments where you're going to feel like you are top of the world. And there are going to be moments where you feel like everyone is trying to put you in the valley and bury you there because they believe that that's where you belong. But the mistake that most people make is that they tend to identify with the mountaintops when everything is high. And when they reach the valley, they tend to identify with the valley to see themselves as a man or woman of the valley. So basically, a low-life person was only entitled to low-hanging fruits. So they stop shooting for the mountaintop because it says, I've been here so long that maybe this is where I belong. This is maybe all that I deserve. I say to my daughter, when you go to school, there are going to be days when you're going to feel like top of the world because you are getting all the answers right. But there are also going to be days when things are not going so well. But when this happens, don't look at yourself like a failure, because a moment where you are not getting great notes does not mean that this is where you belong. It does not mean that this is all of a sudden your identity. As a matter of fact, I would love for you to see that what you saw on YouTube, because precisely when you see what happened to your daddy and your daddy remained completely unmoved by that, it should teach you something about how to respond to a failure or seeming failure or lack of attention or bad notes. Because when you are able to weather the storm, things are not going so right, and to still keep your head screw on your shoulders, that's how you're going to start developing this thing called growth mindset. And as Professor Carol Dweck said so beautifully when she was talking about growth mindset, the world is ruled by people who develop the growth mindset. They learn how to live with failures and somehow to keep pushing and to work harder than those who are so used to A plus or A notes and never grew to develop any type of work ethics. The world is full of people who are now at the helm of great companies, but when you have to look at the academic performance, you're going to see that these people barely made it, but somehow, because they learned how to stick with the program. That's why they brought that work ethics into everything that they did. That's how slowly but surely they started rising to the top, and all the A students started eventually, most of them working for the C or D students. I said, let me now go back to Leonardo da Vinci. I said, this is now a perfect opportunity to tell you something about Leonardo da Vinci. Leonardo da Vinci left Italy because when the Pope was looking for someone to paint the Sistine Chapel, Leonardo da Vinci was not considered for many different reasons. And as they took the young Michelangelo, Da Vinci felt betrayed. He felt like a hit that destroyed his ego. He simply said, no, maybe it's time for me to retire from Italy because these people don't seem to understand what I'm bringing to the table. And it just so happened around the time that King Francis the First from France was passing somewhere in Italy, and he came across Da Vinci, and he says, "You are someone I've always admired. Would you consider moving to France to be with me so we can actually spend time discussing some of your amazing contribution to mankind?" Da Vinci said, "Yes, I'm going to consider. As a matter of fact, this country, it looks like I'm not a prophet in this country because you seem to see value in what I'm bringing. I'm going to follow and go to France." That's what he did. He brought everything with him to France, including the Mona Lisa. I believe 1519, if I'm not mistaken. But anyways, it was sometimes in 1519. Da Vinci passed away. And all his belongings and properties, he divided them among some of the people who were following him, and the rest he left to his benefactor, King Francis I of France. King Francis I of France, eventually he passed away. The French go from monarchy to Napoleon Bonaparte, who took over in the early 1800s. So when he took over. And guess what happened now? When Napoleon Bonaparte becomes the emperor of France in 1804, one of the first things he did is he says, "I'm going to be living like an emperor. I'm going to be living like someone of my stature." And one of the key things he did is, he says, back in the day, King Francis I had access to all the things that Da Vinci had left for him. So I'm going to go to this belonging and see if I can get some of this thing to bring into my own personal bedroom. So that's what he did. So the Mona Lisa was now in the bedroom of Napoleon Bonaparte. Not even properly on the wall, but on the back of a door. That from time to time, when you close the door, you look at the picture of Mona Lisa. And that was from when he was emperor, from 1804 all the way to 1812, 1813, eventually 1815, when he was actually asked to abdicate. But let's stay with me. Here's now where things going to get quite interesting. Da Vinci left Italy because he was feeling bitter about how Italians were not actually receptive to his work. And how Italy decided to favor Michelangelo when it comes to painting the Sistine Chapter. So he goes to France. And in France, as he's dying, he's feeling like a failure. Because say, yes, it is true that what this German has been telling me, Michelangelo, that I'm a man who have started so many projects and left them incomplete. As a matter of fact, even this Mona Lisa I brought with me to France, it was a commission work I was supposed to give back to the family. But I never gave it back because I kept hanging on to it, and I'm dying completely not happy because I feel like I've experienced too much failures. But guess what? Things are going to get quite interesting. 1911, as the Mona Lisa was now transferred to the museum called Le Louvre that my daughter wants me to visit, a young employee of Italian origins looked at the Mona Lisa and he said to himself, "Wait a minute, the Mona Lisa was actually painted by a fellow Italian. So what is this painting doing in France? I might as well be the bold guy who's going to pull the mission impossible by stealing this Mona Lisa and bringing it back to Italy." As the painting goes missing, everyone is now on high alert. They're trying to figure out where exactly the Mona Lisa gone, number one. And number two, who had the audacity to steal something from the Louvre? After many days of investigation, the Mona Lisa was actually retrieved because, of course, the gentleman was trying to sell the painting to our dealer. The dealer now contacted the police and said that this is what is happening and so on and so forth. And eventually, the gem was actually apprehended. And through investigation, they found that this gem was actually of Italian origins. And they found that his motive as to why he did that was simply because he believed that the Mona Lisa belonged to Italy. And from that point, the stardom or the star of this Mona Lisa painting went through the roof. Everyone now became curious as to what the Mona Lisa was. Everyone wanted now to pay a lot of money just to come look at the Mona Lisa. And from that point, the Mona Lisa became the attraction that made the Louvre what it is. To the point where in 1945, between the 1940 and 1945, when the Germans were all over Europe, and more specific in France, guess what they were after as well? The Mona Lisa. But of course, because the French had anticipated that desire to steal the Mona Lisa, they moved it to a different location until the occupation was actually over. But guess what? Why am I telling you this story? Just to illustrate the fact that yes, just because things seem to be not going anywhere right now, does not mean that what you're carrying is not a Mona Lisa. We live in a world where everyone is so used to a microwave result. I do something, I must reap the result right away. And when things seem to be actually taking forever, we become disillusioned and be bitter and believe that yes, I've become maybe a failure because I'm spending way too much time here in the valley. So maybe I'm just someone who was actually born and designed to live in the valley, to be enjoying all these low-hanging fruits. But that's the furthest thing from the truth. Because you want to know why? Sometimes the only way up is down. When you're going through a down moment, it does not mean that you're actually meant to be there. It's simply a time when you're supposed to be sown and kept there in the dark until all the roots that are supposed to come out of the seed are going to go deeper and strong enough to now cause the rest of the plant to now start shooting forward. And when that happens, my friend, that's when you're going to become unstoppable. Why? Because the roots will be deep and strong enough for you to sustain anything, any wind that may come and try to disrupt the masterpiece you were so meant to be for the community around you. All right, I'm going to stop right here. So my only recommendation for you is the following. Brainwash yourself to believe that you are somebody. Brainwash yourself to believe that you are carrying a great measure of worth. Brainwash yourself to believe that you are carrying a great measure of value. Why? Because it's only in brainwashing yourself that your perception is going down to cause you to have a different perspective. And that perspective is now going to cause you to remain flat-footed and simply say, no matter how long it's going to take, I'm going to remain here because I am the Da Vinci of my generation. Sooner or later, people are going to come to realize that I was bringing something more than amazing, and I'm not going to go anywhere until I see that become a tangible reality. If you need any help when it comes to how to change your perception to start seeing yourself as the giant that you were so meant to be, my friend, reach out. There's a link that you can actually go to, and it's going to give you access to an ebook that's going to revolutionize the way you see yourself. All right, much love, everyone. I'm out. Take care.